We're going to talk very quickly about Venn diagrams. Some of this is review, but I think some of it will also be new to you. So Venn diagrams are a way of comparing differences and things in common. So poor Harold had to face the painful truth that he and Daisy were never going to be a Venn diagram because they had nothing in common. Venn diagrams are used to organize information, and they can be very helpful actually when something is confusing. The key to Venn diagrams is working backwards. So 60 students were surveyed to see which food was their favorite. 44 love hamburgers, 24 love hot dogs, 16 love both. This is your key. This is your key to happiness with Venn diagrams. Start with the both, or in the case of a three-way Venn diagram, you start with all, etc. So I'm going to put hamburgers here and hot dogs here, and I start with both. 16 goes in the middle. Now I know that 44 students love hamburgers. So in this entire circle, I want 44 students. Well, guess what? I already have 16, so I need to take 44 minus 16 to get the amount that just like hamburgers, and that would be 28. In the hot dog circle, I know that 24 in total like hot dogs. So how many only like hot dogs? Well, 16 are already there, so 8 only like hot dogs. Now there were 60 students surveyed, so we have to put a title, Students' Favorites Foods, and they asked us how many didn't like either. So to find out how many didn't like either, I add them all up and subtract from 60. So I had 28 plus 16 plus 8, and that gives me 52, and then I subtract 52 from 60 to get 8, and 8 goes out here. So my entire survey is inside this box, and I have the students that are inside the circles, and then the students that are outside the circles are the none. Let's try one more. You can try this one on your own and come back and check with me. The Venn diagram for number 2 should look like the one there. Make sure you have a title. These are easy to forget the titles on. Number 3 is a straightforward Venn diagram that's only just 2 circles, so you should be able to complete that one and come back and check. So we have a survey of the number of beverages, the kinds of beverages people like at a business meeting, and we should have gotten 9 for the only tea. And that one, again, it's just working backwards. Now, when we get into three-way Venn diagrams, it can get a little bit more complicated. And let's take a look at this survey of 200 people. Out of the 200, only 180 responded. So that's an important piece of information. So the first thing we're going to want to do is title our graph. Then we need to set up our circles. So I'm going to put cones in the upper left, sundaes in the upper right, and shakes in the lower circle. Now again, you always start at the end. So 25 people liked all 3. That goes in my intersecting circle right in the middle. Now I use that to work backwards because I have some information in all 3. I know that 56 people like cones and sundaes. So I can subtract the 25 from the 56, and I get 31. So the 31 would go right there because that's cones and sundaes. And then I can work backwards from there. So 35 people liked shakes and sundaes. I would again subtract the 25, which gives me 10 in this part. Because if you think about this, this is telling me that 35 are in the intersection of sundaes and shakes. Make sense? You can try the rest on your own. If you're very shaky on it, you can stick with me and I'll explain it. So we work backwards again. 40 people like cones and shakes. So the cones and shakes areas here, I already have 25, so that would leave 15. Now I can work backward to the fact that 58 like shakes. So I add up 25 plus 10 plus 15, and then I subtract that from 58. and I should get 8. Continue to do that for cones and sundaes, and you should be in good shape. So for the shakes and sundaes section, or just the sundaes, I got 28. For cones, I got 60. Then I would add up all of those numbers in the middle here. Add all these up and subtract it from 180. Okay? So if you subtract all those from 180, it's total of 177, and you should get 3 people didn't like any. This is a complete Venn diagram, so if you're asked to create a Venn diagram, you do need to have this section out here of how many didn't like any. Great job. We'll work more with Venn diagrams. Have a great night.